Shalom, shalom, Yasharala, shalom, Akim, Ba Akwatin, Ba Mawanka. I'd like to begin by saying I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak Wadash, whom I worship. Double honors to my other apostles, a great millstone, who taught me this word in sincerity and in truth, and who rule well and are still pushing this word so that they may receive their crowns of salvation. Salutations be to the hopeful elect throughout the world who are doing the same. All right, teaching the word of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai according to the true doctrine, like great millstone teachers, like GMS teachers. May the Lord grant you and your salvation. Keep pushing, stay faithful. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Barak Warapawa Kazak Shamar, the great cloud of witnesses of Yashar Allah, who are paying attention, who are faithful in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, and who are waiting for the coming of Yahweh Shai. May the Lord grant you and your salvation. Okay, so saw this article the other day, and it caught my attention. So I wanted to get into it because it's prophecy, So it's this is from RT News. And as you see, it says published yesterday, 6th, February 6th. And it says, Stratcom chief claims nuclear war with Russia or China a real possibility. Says U.S. can't assume strategic deterrence will hold. So, these are the rumors of wars that Yahweh Shai spoke of, as signs that, that we are at the end, the end of Esau's world, man. And we know that the key players in the last war are Russia, which is Magog according to the Bible, and the United States, which the United States is Babylon, okay? Babylon the Great. Also, the whore that sits upon the beast, right? And the beast is NATO, right? You can't leave out the NATO nations, which the majority of the EU nations, the European Union nations, are a part of NATO, and those European nations, Union nations, are the toes, right, of Nebuchadnezzar's image. That were the toes which were part of iron and part of miry clay. So that's talking about the EU. So we're at the end. We're at the time of the toes of that image. At the time when the stone that was cut without hands was going to come and hit the image at his feet, and hit the foundation of the image so that the whole image falls. And who's that stone cut without hands? That's Yahweh Shai, man. Right? The chief cornerstone. The chief cornerstone which the builders disallowed, right? That the builders did not want. That's Yahweh Shai, man. So, also known as the Great Millstone. Okay. Yeah, so you know what? Let's get into this. Let's get into this article, and then I'll bring out, a few scriptures. Yeah, so let's go into this article right here, all right? And it reads, Stratcom chief claims nuclear war with Russia or China a real possibility. Says U.S. can't assume strategic deterrence will hold. The head of U.S. Strategic Command is warning that nuclear war with Russia or China is a real possibility. Now, he must have, definitely, he's the head of U.S. Strategic Command. He has to have some intel in order for him to say this. So this is real, man. This is not a game, things are heating up, and they're not gonna let you know what's happening in the on the military front, man. And they keep what they do on the military end. They keep that away from these copper tops, man, from the average people. So then, people are going on with their, everyday lives. They're gonna watch the Super Bowl. They, like Yahushua said, as in the days of Noah, man. They, business as usual, man. Eating, drinking, and all this stuff, right? Until the flood came. So the things that are gonna be taking place they're gonna happen fast. They're gonna creep up on these people, because these people have no idea what's happening, right? Like this whole pandemic thing, and how the government is using this to take more rights away from the people and control people more, right? So these people, man, they have no clue, man. They're just zombies, man. Made and created for the taking. It says the head of U.S. Strategic Command is warning that nuclear war with Russia or China is a real possibility. How about both? How about China joining Russia? See, because this is going to be a world war, right? World War III. All nations are going to be involved. The Lord is doing it. He's gathering up all the nations, man, for this last war. So he said it, so it's going to happen. Now the question is, when? Well, we don't. Even Yahushua said he don't exactly know, these times, because the Father did not reveal that unto him. That, so he's waiting just like we are. But he said, these are the signs. One thing the Lord did reveal unto him was that certain signs to look out for, man, right? Nation rising up against nation, rumors of wars, earthquakes in diverse places, pestilences, right? That's what he said. So we're living in that. You can't tell me that we're not living in that time, because we are. All right? We just got to keep on, like he said, man. He said, what I say unto you, I say unto all. Watch. So all we could do is be patient and watch. Everything is going to happen according to his will, not our own. Okay? You know what I'm saying? We're not going to be forcing the Lord's hand, and then you find yourself fighting against him. All right? That's not how we roll. We have patience, all right? And we have faith and confidence that the Lord is going to do good on his word, all right? So it says, the head of U.S. Strategic Command is warning that nuclear war with Russia or China is a real possibility. Who was Russia in the Bible? Magog. They're known as Magog in the Bible. You can read about them in the book of Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, Ezekiel, the 39th chapter, Revelation, the 20th chapter, right? And these are the key nations, key players in this last war. China, who is China? Moab, the Moabites, all right? And the Lord said that Moab is my washpot, okay? And at Edom, he will cast his shoe. Now, what's the Lord's shoes, man? Those missiles. He's going to cast his missiles. It's like how you could kick off your shoes or your boots or whatever after you unlace them. When you're about to sit down, you just kick them off. That's what the Lord's going to do. Yeah, that's what the Lord's going to do, man, to Esau, right? He's going to use Moab, the Moabites, China, which is China, and the Russians to do it. As well as the nations that were in league with him, like the EU nations, right? In the book of Revelation, the 17th chapter, it says that they shall hate the whore and shall burn her with fire. So all these nations are gonna shoot missiles at the whore, man, which is America. All right? The whore that sits upon the scarlet-colored beast. Call it scarlet-colored beast. Scarlet color, the color of scarlet is red. And why is the beast red? Because the nations that comprise of NATO, they are all Edomites, right? They are all Edomites, man. Yep. And then what does the word Edom means? It means red, right? Adawam, red. And he was born looking that way. Okay? Abnormal. He wasn't looking like the natural man of the earth, which is dark skin, right? Like the earth's like the ground, all right? So it says, once again, let me just read this again. It says, the head of U.S. Strategic Command is warning that nuclear war with Russia or China is a real possibility, pointing to destabilizing behaviors of America's rivals. He also claims the Pentagon is not stuck in the Cold War. There is a real possibility that a regional crisis with Russia or China could escalate quickly to a conflict involving nuclear weapons. If they perceived a conventional loss would threaten the regime or state, STRATCOM Chief and Vice Admiral Charles Richard wrote in the February issue of the U.S. Naval Institute's monthly magazine. STRATCOM, which oversees the U.S. nuclear arsenal, views the probability of nuclear war as low. But with Russia and China advancing their capabilities and continuing to exert themselves globally, because they're trying to be the leading nation, the top nation, to rule the world, so to speak. Little do they know that it's the nation of Israel that's going to take over. All right, according to prophecy. But with Russia and China advancing their capabilities and continuing to exert themselves globally, Richard said STRATCOM must understand what it's facing. In the absence of change, we are on the path once again to prepare for the conflict we prefer instead of one we are likely to face. If that, which is a nuclear conflict, if that sort of talk seems reminiscent of the Cold War, that's because it probably is. But Richard claims the U.S. military has focused on counterterrorism for 2 decades while ignoring the nuclear dimension. I bristle when I hear the Department of Defense accused of being stuck in the Cold War, he said. The department is well past the Cold War. So what has the Pentagon been up to? According to Richard, U.S. forces have been completely immersed in fighting terrorism to the extent that Russia and China have used that to aggressively challenge international norms and global peace using instruments of power and threats of force in ways not seen since the height of the Cold War. He cited alleged instances of cyber attacks and threats in space in particular. So, just a little more to this article. So I'm gonna just leave the link so that you brothers could read it for yourselves in full. So now let's get into some prophecy, right? This is the book of Joel, the 3rd chapter, in the 1st verse, and it says, "For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem," meaning all Israel, right? The Lord's gonna bring us all back again as one, back into His holy land that He chose, man, the land of Israel, and Jerusalem, the city of the great King, which is King David. King David being with us, right? Verse 2, "I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat." Now, what is the valley of Jehoshaphat? Okay, so now They say that, the Valley of Jehoshaphat is what they called the Kidron Valley or something like that. Megiddo, a certain area, geographical location, right? In Israel, I believe, and it's not that. It's this whole area, all right. This whole area, what known as the they call it the Levant, all this area here, as you can see. This is not a good picture. It's kind of blurry, but you see it. You got Turkey, Libya, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Iran, okay, Israel. All this area here is the Valley of Jehoshaphat. But the climax of it will end in the land of Jerusalem, because that's the prophecy. Magog is going to come down with all his military, and everybody with him to destroy Esau, Edom, that's in that land. Because the Lord's going over there to remove them to make way for us, the lost tribes of the nation of Israel, man. And that's the whole reason why the Lord's creating this great war, man. Just to bring us back into our land, man. And to check these nations, man. And to put them under his feet, right? The Lord is not called the King of Kings and Lord of Lords for nothing, man. He's coming to put all these nations under his feet and take away all their crowns, man. All right? So that's the Valley of Jehoshaphat, okay? Not the Kidron Valley and the geographical location of what was known as Megiddo. All right? That's just part of it. A little part of it. Joel 3:2. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the Valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink. Now that's what they did during slavery, right? Esau, Edom did this to us. That's in history. They cannot deny it. And they hate that. They want to erase that history. They hate that they got that blot, But that's what they have done, man, to gain control of America, to gain control of the world, man, and to become rich. Okay? So they have to pay for that. It's verse 4. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? Will you render me a recompense? Talking about the Hamite nations, right? The African nations, and then you had the Arabs with them. They helped in putting us in slavery and handing us over to the so-called white man, okay? What they call the slave trade, or the slave triangle, or whatever. It says, will you render me a recompense? And if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head? Meaning there's no price that they could give to the Most High, so that the Most High can forgive them for what they have done. Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. Yeah, they sacked the temple of the Lord, took all the precious metals and artifacts dating back to the time of King Solomon, when he first built the temple and what he made, And they took that, they stole that. The nations did that, And Esau too. They did that as when they were the Greeks, and they did it when they were the Romans. It says, the children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians. Right? Who are the Grecians, right? Esau, the Edomites. They were also the Romans, that ye might remove them far from their border. Right? And what was our border? The land of Israel. So when they sold us to Esau, they put us on cargo slave ships. They brought us over here. Now you already had Israelites over here on this side, dating back to the time of about 725, 724 BC, the time of the Assyrians when they were ruling. And they carried us away in captivity to their land, and then we escaped their land. 10 tribes came over here on this side. You know what I'm saying? So, but what happened years later? You know what I'm saying? Thousands of years later, Esau came, all right, as the Spanish, and enslaved our people that were over here. So ultimately, we were all removed from our border, right? Which is the land of Israel, man. It says, "Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them," right? Meaning amongst all the nations. Because from Esau had us, but then Esau sold us to other nations, sold us, there were Gadites even brought to Europe, a whole bunch of them. They were sold off as slaves. Just Gadites all throughout Europe, man. All throughout England, all in different parts of Europe, looking like Edomites. And they don't even know that they go back to the Gadites that were taken as slaves and sold, as slaves out there in Europe, man. You don't even hear about that, Right along with Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, man. Ephraim and the other tribes as well. All right. Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them. America is is a main place, and will return your recompense upon your head, meaning payback. You're gonna pay for that, and then now you're gonna be put in slavery, right? And you're gonna be sold and put on these auctioning blocks. And I will sell your sons. See. Now, people get mad. They get mad at us because we prophesied this. We speak this. The Lord, this is in the Bible. All right? So if you don't agree with this, like we talk to these Christians, right? Vocab and all of them, they don't understand. But the Lord is saying this. They'll say, no, this already happened. No, it didn't. No, it didn't, because here we are. We are the children of Israel speaking to you and telling you of what's about to happen. Okay, and we haven't gone back to our land. So we're living a prophecy in the making, right? It says, and I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabians. The Sabians are a Hamite tribe, okay, nation. All right, to a people far off, for the Lord have spoken it, right? Meaning, really, all we're gonna sell Edomites to all nations are gonna have their hands on this damn devil. But the main nation that's gonna have their hands on these devils is us. We're gonna have, we get first dibs, we get first licks, so to speak, because we were the nations that was done the worst to. All right. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabians, to a people far off, for the Lord have spoken it. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. This is the reason why I should have went straight to the point, but that was the spirit. Verse 9. This is the point I wanted to make. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Meaning the real Gentiles, the heathen nations, right? Prepare war. And what time we're living in? We're living in a time of war. When you go to Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter, it says that there is a time for everything under the heaven, right? A time of peace and a time of war. So we're not living in a time of peace right now. We're living in a time of war, man. That's why the nations are getting ready. China's getting ready. Russia getting ready. Iran, they keep on going forth with their enriching their uranium and all that. They ain't letting the U.S. The U.S. is not a top nation anymore, man. These nations know that the U.S. doesn't have that power anymore. Now, their military is still strong, but on a bigger scale, they are not the top nation anymore. Okay, Russia and China are. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Right, in other words, tools that were made for cultivating the earth and agriculture, put those down and pick up instruments of war, weapons of war. All right. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Even the smaller nations, man. Okay. Let them say they are strong. Like nations like North Korea and different nations like that. Assemble yourselves, meaning come together, and come all ye heathen, all you nations, come together. All right? Not in love, man, but to fight one another. All ye heathen, meaning all you nations, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down. O Lord, the mighty ones are the angels, because the Most High set the angels to control the climate of the battle, right? Let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. I just showed you where the valley of Jehoshaphat is. Right here, right? The so-called Middle East, the Levant, that area, man. And that's where pretty much civilization started at, from up there, from what is known as, like the Mesopotamia region and all that, coming down all the way to Israel. Really, at the very beginning, everything started at what is known as the land of Israel today. Verse 12, let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. So the Lord's going to judge all the heathen. Why? What the hell did the heathens do? Well, all the heathens had their hands in one time or another on the Lord's chosen people, which are the Israelites, man. Okay? Verse 13, put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Verse 14, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision, which I just showed you, the valley of decision, that area, okay, the Middle East. The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. And that's because ultimately, when they shoot off when they shoot off the thermonuclear missiles, what it's going to create is what they call nuclear winter, man. And all the smoke and ash and fire will engulf the skies, man, and you won't be able to see the sun or the moon or the stars. All right. And also that goes into also the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of Esau, Edom, and the other nations is gonna be put out. They're gonna be in confusion, not knowing what the hell's going on, But ultimately, they're gonna know that it's the Lord judging them for their wickednesses, man. All right. It says, verse 16, the Lord also shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake, right, by way of the thermonuclear missiles. But the Lord will be the hope of his people. Who's his people? The Israelites, right? Who are the lost tribes of the nation of the lost tribes of the nation of Israel, Salakia, today? So-called black people, so-called Latino people, right, of native and Indian descent or Negro descent, the so-called North American Indians, right, so-called Seminole Indian peoples, All right, all throughout the Americas and scattered throughout the world. These are the lost tribes of the nation of Israel, man. You know, whether people want to believe it or not, that's exactly what it is. But the Lord will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. So shall ye know that I am the Lord your power, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be holy, and there shall no strangers pass through her anymore. Right? No nation is going to rise up to put us in slavery and destroy us anymore, man. Lay siege to us anymore. You know? And it shall come to pass in that day. That day has not happened yet. That the mountains shall drop down new wine, and the hills shall flow with milk, and all the rivers of Judah shall flow with waters, and a fountain shall and a fountain shall come forth of the house of the Lord, and shall water the valley of Shittim. That's talking about spiritual waters, man. The knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the Lord shall flow, all right, in all our dwelling places, wherever we are, wherever we live. Egypt shall be a desolation. Egypt is America. And Edom, now check that out. They put Egypt and Edom together, letting you know, all right, that when it speaks about Egypt, it's speaking about Edom, all right? Because they are the new Egyptians, man. And this place, America, is spiritually known as Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified, like the scriptures say. All right? Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness. For the violence against the children of Judah, right? What they did to Judah, what they did to all Israel. Because they have shed innocent blood in their land, right? And America was founded upon bloodshed, man. But Judah shall dwell forever, and Jerusalem from generation to generation, meaning all Israel is gonna be an everlasting kingdom, right? And will be over all nations with under our Lord Yahushua, under his rule, man. You know, he's the king, and then he has his king, which is King David. For I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed. For the Lord dwelleth in Zion, man. So the Lord's gonna clean us up, man. That's what he's doing with his word right now, right? This is the book of St. John, the 17th chapter and the 17th verse. It says, sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth. All right? So that's how the Lord sanctifies us, man, and cleans us, right? This is Psalms 119 verse 9. All right, it says Beth, or that means Bayath, which is house. It says, wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed thereto according to thy word. So that's, brothers, especially young brothers coming in, take, do your main objective is to take heed to the word of the Lord, man, so that you could cleanse your way from the ways of the world, from the things that you've been taught wrong, brought up wrong in this world, man. So this is how you cleanse your way, man. Pay attention to the word of the Lord, man, and you can never go wrong, and to his prophecies. This is Ephesians 5:26. It says that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word. And so that's how the Most High is going to clean us up, all right, by his word. All right, this is the book of Revelation, the 20th chapter and the 6th verse. And it says, blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. Meaning, when Yahushua comes with the holy angels to deliver his elect, blessed are those who are part of the hopeful elect to make it, and to be delivered from the fire that's to come, the great fire, And such the second death hath no power, right? The second death is the thermonuclear missiles, man. What was the first death? The great waters, man, the great flood that took place during the time of Noah. But they shall be priests of the Most High and of Yahushua, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. Yeah, who? The Israelites, right? The Most High's chosen people. The Most High chose the nation of Israel and never changed that. He never changed that, man. They reign with him 1,000 years means for a long time, forever. All right. And when the 1,000 years are expired, see, Revelation, especially this chapter here, it goes back and forth, back and forth. It says, and when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison. And what was that prison? They were sent up by the dark nations into the mountains, into the caves of the earth, man. Job spoke about them in Job, the 30th chapter, all right? And that was their prison until they learned how to be, civilized by Jake and by the dark nations, joining the militaries and, gaining rank and all that. And then they slowly started to come up and then take over, right? Just for a little while. And it says, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth. And that's what they did, right? Especially when they set themselves up as the Spanish. They went out deceiving the nations, telling the whole world that the Most High looked like them, that the angels looked like them, Every main character of the Bible looked like them, looked like white people, blaspheming, man. They were the main ones who did that, okay? And it says, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog. Now, this is not the actual Gog and Magog, because Gog and Magog are the children of Japheth, one of three sons to live after the flood, right? Noah's children. They came out of one of Noah's children named Japheth. Now, what this is talking about is the Russians today, because they're living in the land of Gog, in the land of Magog, right? And Gog, which is that region known as Russia, to gather them together to battle. We just read that in the book of Joel, the 3rd chapter. The number of whom is as the sand of the sea, right? Because they're gonna have these nations joining them. The Moabites joining them, Libya joining them, the militaries of Ethiopia joining them, Turkey's always buying weapons from Russia, and America always tries to stop them, you know, joining them right along with other nations, man, joining them, all right, to come down and fight against Amalek, all right, here in in the land of Israel, all right, because that's where the climax of the battle is gonna take place. And what they're gonna do, they're gonna destroy themselves. They're all gonna destroy themselves, man. All right, and it says, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea, innumerable hosts, man. And they went up on the breadth of the earth and compassed. This has not happened yet. This is in the future. This is in the near future, right? And they went up on the breadth of the earth. This is World War III. And compassed the camp of the saints about, because the camp of the saints is the land of Israel, right? The land chosen by the Most High for his chosen people to live in, to dwell in, formerly known as the land of Canaan, and the beloved city. And fire came down from the Most High out of heaven and devoured them. That fire is talking about the thermonuclear missiles, man. Right along with laser beams being shot by the chariots as well, right? And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone. Who's the devil? The so-called white man is the devil, right? Esau, Edom. The word devil means deceiver, the great deceiver, man. And the lake of fire is talking about here, America, man. All right? Babylon the Great, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. Right? It don't mean forever and ever, but it means for a very long time. Yeah, so we're going to end the lesson there, and hope this was edifying, and just keep your eyes open, you know, for news on what's transpiring in the Middle East and between Russia, China, and the U.S., you know, because these are the key players that are going to take part in the last great war. So with that, I want to say shalom, and until the next video, shalom.